KTune shifter. It's kind of a knockoff that was on Amazon for like 45 bucks, maybe, like that. Shift knob was like $8. It's nice, got some weight to it. This is all what came with it, an Allen wrench. And this is its own separate piece, but I've got the new plastic cage and the rubber bushing goes around it. So, yep, this is the piece that are gonna be going inside of the car. All right, so here we are in neutral. If I go over to, let's just say, third gear, we still have all that slop. The idea is to get rid of all that. That's what I'm gonna try to do today. It's pretty much like that, neutral every gear. I already installed energy suspension stabilizers in the front, back, so now today we're gonna swap the shifter. All right, so underneath the car, there's gonna be two 12mm bolts right here. You're gonna release those, and you can see I already have the polyurethane insert up there. Once you remove those two, the shift linkage is gonna start to come down. Make sure your shift knob is off the shifter in case you have the boot and everything in it, won't come through. And then once it's down, we're going to remove this. Now on mine, it looks like it's already was an aftermarket shifter when I bought this shift linkage. It's an unknown brand, but there's an Allen key here, followed by a 13mm here for mine. Now usually there's a stud coming up from the bottom here, coming up, and there's like a, let me rephrase it, there's actually like a, it's a stud that's going through here with a thing you can put a wrench on the top here and then nut on the bottom. Mine, again, it looks like someone's already had mine from when I bought it. They replaced it basically with a bolt and a nut. So you essentially are going to probably have to hold your top with a wrench or something, and then take a, I think it's a 10mm below it. In my case, it's just going to be two 10mm nut and bolt. I'm just going to loosen that right now, and this whole thing should separate. All right, so here's mine how it came out. If you can tell, this rubber bushing is beat up pretty good. Pretty much doesn't even exist if you want to compare it to a brand new one. Yeah. So we're going to discard that. To be fair, this is in betweenish. It is a little worn compared to looking at the OEM replacement, just comparing it. Oh yeah, never mind, it's way worn. All right, so let's put on these new parts. There's going to be two screws here. I'm just going to loosen those, and you can see where they kind of would dimple in here. Just going to remove the shaft there. There's going to be three down here. I'm going to remove those three with the supplied Allen wrench that it came with. Again, they're just snug just to keep everything in there, so if you just... Now we're left with this. Alright, so now I'm going to remove the ball. I'm just going to kind of eyeball the center again here. I'm going to remove the ball. Just loosen it a little bit. It'll spin off. Come on. All right. Now I put the new plastic piece inside of the rubber, just a little bit easier in my opinion. Slide it on like so. Just gonna let it kind of hang out down there. Screw the ball back on. I'm just going to kind of eyeball center again, give or take, and back up. I'm going to put a little bit more put a little bit more grease on it there. And slide this boot up. You kind of feel the white sleeve there kind of engage it. There she is. Now you're essentially just going to take that and put it back in the car reverse. So the same way you took it out, just basically put it back in that way. The only difference, maybe reverse your shifter. Out of these little pieces that come, you're going to take one on each side. And put them in the arm and put them in the bottom like so. And feed the new bolt that it came through with. So that's roughly what it'll look like once it's sitting there installed. Again, it kind of just goes in the same order that it came out in. So now we're just going to raise it back up, bolt these two back in. All right, so I've got the center console kind of in there now. The little pieces here that go around the actual boot to give it some rigidity, those kind of broke. Probably just because they're a little fragile, and I didn't try to break them, they just kind of broke. I'm going to hold on to those. So since the boot now is a little loose around here, I'm going to take some heat shrink and just kind of stick it about down there. I know it's not necessarily the greatest fix, but it should be better than nothing. Let me get it kind of down low. Well, actually, all right, so when this piece goes on here, I'm going to kind of mark it about right there. And I'll show you why, because I'm going to take this up. Slide a piece of heat shrink around here. And we're going to go a little bit below that. So right there. I'm just going to kind of hold it there now. I'm going to use the heat shrink as just a little bit of a buffer there to maybe tighten up the boot a little bit here. All right, give it a little bit of some thickness there. Not a whole ton. Maybe it'll kind of just help it not slide as much. Gently snug those up. Throw this nut on there. Now the amount of play that we did have is going to be accentuated quite a bit because we've got quite a bit of actual, you get all this extra leverage now in here. Put the boots there. So now something I did notice is, well, I addressed it, but for the time being we might be alright. That is neutral. That's third. First, if you notice how far forward the shifter is there. Fourth looks like it's basically where neutral would sit. Fifth, I mean, she gets in all the gears just fine. It just, yeah. So now that might be just because, again, the shifter that I've got, I don't know where it came from. I just sort of got it with the swap, so it may have been a cut linkage, but it doesn't show any visual marks that it was cut and welded, but I'll look at it again. Nonetheless, it gets in all the gears fine, and I like it better with the boot being there. Alright, so there's the 94 to 2001 integral lower radiator hose on it. Kind of comes over to the side a little bit, but it's mainly just because of the shape of it, but it's totally fine. Nothing's going to happen with it. If anything, I could maybe just, I don't know, tie something in to hook it over here if it bugged me enough, but it is what it is. It's bolted in just fine. Doesn't really have any issues. The upper, on the other hand, shape that it should be. Now, granted, I know this hose was going to require some trimming, but I could not find to buy any silicone hoses in basically by themselves, so I bought the kit. I do know that this is not technically the proper hose to use, and there's some that just drop right in, but as you can see, if that was in right there, it would come right there. So what I need to basically do is just pushing that against the head right there. And you can see it's pretty close to matching at that point. I can probably move it a little bit. So I'm gonna start by just cutting maybe like an inch off of it and we'll work our way over. All right, here's the grand total of what I cut off. Then I did small chunks, then straightened it out, but end result, she's not kinked. I will say that she is very taut on there. I ordered some black clamps just to make it look a little nicer. I did, on the other hand, have to, you can see how it still fits inside the stock radiator hole, but there's no way I can get this mount on. I mean, I could, but it won't line up with the holes. If I push it back to line up with the holes, it'll start to kink the hose. So I'm not going to kink it. I'm going to let it sit how it is. We're going to try it out. And I can just build a simple aluminum bracket to go right there. So hoses are in. And that's that for now. Alright, this video is probably all over the place, because obviously something's a little different. I finally got to move back into a house. So I've got a garage. Took me a little longer to get set up, but I had to build a bench first and foremost, just for things that I needed. It's just easy to work on. Granted, it's partially storage / work. I abandoned toolboxes due to the hurricane, but I took the tools. So I bought this Harbor Freight box, which is, couldn't ask for anything better. So current status, I guess, of things that maybe are not going to be in this video that I'm going to take a guess at right now. Intake arm came in. I had to scribe a line right there. That's where I'm going to basically cut it so I can actually fit the air filter in the engine bay. I just sprayed it with some VHT roll bar chassis paint. I just didn't want that inside the engine bay, that color. It is what it is. It's going to be gone eventually anyways once the turbo kit and whatever else happens. Skunk2 hoses are installed. I kind of mocked up a little bit of, kind of did some modifying here. Throttle cable seems to be working right now. I changed the clutch cable from the CRX one to the Integra one to a DA Integra. I'll be honest, I don't have any more room of it, so now I basically got 2 clutch cables. And again, it's not that I don't have any room, like I showed in the last video. This has more room, but not a ton more, to be honest with you, than the CRX one. These 310 billet hood hinges came in. They're not installed yet. I'll make a video on them. For anybody that's been around for a while, you should already realize, if not anyways, the hoods in our cars are they're real just flimsy. So the hood props, people used to not use them back in the day, at least when I was out going around, whatever. So we use 2x4s, all kinds of shit. Or make up their own little kits. Pastor JDM used to make a kit, so now there's a company, 310 Build, that basically makes new hood hinges, and they come with little struts. Obviously, I've not installed it yet. I'll get to that, but that came in. I've started working on, I'm not really calling this even a wire tuck for the engine harness. I'm just cleaning it up. I'm going to relume it. Try my best at least to relume it, like everything for the wire tuck sort of that I did for the headlight harness. And I'm just changing things, so I'm never going to go backwards in time. So I've got OBD1 injector clips on it. I plan on running some form of RCs probably. I've got OBD1 distributor plugs that I just hardwired right onto the harness now. Just trying to make everything look kind of pretty, or just nicer, I should say. The O2, I just kind of cut off that plug, running that to these gauges, or to the PLX gauge. I mean, I need to start figuring those out inside the car. That's all in the works at the current moment in time. I got some wheel center caps in. These ones claimed, at least online, it said they were Volk Racing. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, I don't know, whatever. But so cool, whatever. I plastic dipped them black just so they'd match the wheels a bit. And there's some flat ones. The flat ones aren't on yet. I put one of the Volk Racing ones in. I'm not saying I don't like it. I don't know. If anybody's got a comment whether they like it or don't like it, let me know. I think I'm gonna go with the flat ones. That seems, I don't know, I think it just might look a little cleaner. Shifter got installed. I had to order something dumb. I got out and as I was working underneath the dash, I just stuck my head up and I hit the headlight switch, knocked it right off. It just snapped right in pieces. So one of those are on order. I said hoses are in. I'm all over the place. So I think all that's left is I'm in the middle of bleeding the brakes. So I need to bleed the brakes. There's gonna be a ton of air in the system. There already started to be, which I get it. All the calipers are off. There's a bunch of new lines in the front. It's gonna take a little bit. But bleed the brakes, oil, coolant. Now the radiator hoses are on. Honestly, after that, I mean, I realistically could boot it up. I need to get a cheap laptop just so I can dedicate just for this car for Honda, because I don't have a Windows computer or a desktop or a laptop, I should say. And then there's gonna be, once the car gets driving, there's gonna be tons of little things I need to deal with. Like, I just bought some universal stripping there that I might just put on like there, for instance. I just cut a piece off. I could run that down the whole window. All kinds of little things like that. I need to draw up and 3D print a, because obviously this is going away, the rear window washer. I'm getting rid of that, but I'd like to just want to plug it with a plug that's like similar, you know, to the trunk plug that they make. I haven't found a plug they make for that, so I'm just gonna draw one up and 3D print it. Sort of like, I don't know if it'll come through the camera, but I don't think I ever mentioned it, but sort of like the little tabs here to hold your corner lights. I don't think, I maybe could order them, but I don't know what the case was. I was just messing around and whatever, drew them up, and yeah, 3D printing those, easy enough. So simple things like that, 3D printing is great for nowadays. So yeah, we're making progress in the garage, at least now, so things should get done a little bit faster. Still waiting on some things to come in, at least to finish up the wire harness. And after that, the car can get back down. I am raising the rear up a little bit, and I gotta lower the front a little bit. Then I'm probably gonna have to do a at-home alignment. As of right now, I can't find an alignment shop that will do anything that's lowered. I get it, it's more of a hassle, more things to tweak, more things to move, but yeah. All right, so other than that, again, I saw the subscriber count go up again, so really happy about that. I really do hope I'm motivating somebody, because this thing is, I'm happy that I've stayed motivated, and partially my reason for staying motivated is, I just want to get this thing done. It's a childhood dream. I mean, I've had them forever, so it's just kind of just continuing it. And then obviously watching people on YouTube, the whole YouTube community, I guess in general, just being able to watch somebody do something that you enjoy doing is sort of, if you don't have anybody around you that's doing the same thing, which in my current state, I actually have a coworker that just bought a Civic. Pretty happy. But prior to that, I didn't have anybody. I don't even know if I have him yet per se, but nonetheless, that became like be able to reach, you just kind of can relate to it, which is just great. Technology has its huge pros. So that being said, again, I know I'm rambling. Everyone, thanks for watching. Tune in next time.